Alright, in this video I'm going to be talking about the new skill from Season 4's Manhunt, and that's going to be the Achilles Pulse. Now I'm going to try to make this a quick video because I don't really think the skill is that complicated and there's not really that many interesting mechanics behind it. It's fairly simple. The good thing about this skill is it's finally a skill for DPS based users. And this is kind of one of the things that I've been complaining about with a lot of the skills in the game, is there's really nothing designed around firearms. I mean, in Division 1, obviously we had the Pulse that gave you crit chance and crit damage, and there was even one of the mods that increased your damage from just using the Pulse. Not to mention the First Aid Booster Shot, which just gave you increased weapon damage. But you could also look at the Turret, which had a mod that pulsed enemies that it was basically shooting at. So you could again get increased damage just by using the turret, aiming at the same enemy. And of course, not to mention the ultimate ability, the tactical link, which gave you the increased RPM, increased damage, that kind of stuff. And then of course, even the defensive skills like the ballistic shield gave you increased weapon damage. Smart cover and mobile cover increased weapon damage or gave you stability and accuracy, that kind of things. So in Division 1, a lot of the skills had many connections to the way that DPS users could use them. They had enhancements for that. In Division 2, it's been incredibly disappointing in this area because there really isn't anything that facilitates better DPS use. DPS users are pretty much limited to just having something as a distraction or having something to heal or revive them. So in a sense, this new Pulse is a step in the right direction, although it's rather weak. It's not exactly as diverse as I would hope it to be, but it is a step in the right direction. It is a step towards offering something for DPS players. Alright, so diving real quickly into what this skill actually offers. When you pulse, basically you have to actually target an enemy with it. So like you would target the Seeker Mine or the turret, it's kind of the same way. You just get the little target notification over an enemy that you're looking at, and then you click it and it pulses that enemy. So it's fairly simple to use. When you pulse them, you end up getting little highlighted areas that you can shoot at. When you shoot at those areas, you deal headshot damage to those spots. If you get lucky enough to actually get a targeted zone on their head, then you get double the headshot value. So snipers would want to use it, and people playing with snipers might want to use it, just if you really are like a sniper simp and you just want to support your team. That's it, I guess. Yeah, you could use the skill. Possibly if you are a skill build using the sniper turret. But honestly, if you're just using the sniper turret, I would probably say use the Artificer Hive. The key thing to note with these zones is that they actually have a select amount of health. So after you do a preset amount of damage to these zones, they disappear. Once you shoot all these spots on the enemy, they are no longer considered pulsed. So if, for example, you were using the spotter talent, you're going to stop getting the bonus from that talent after you shoot all these spots. I wish that the actual effect of being pulsed was still on the target until after the effect duration ran out, not just once you shoot all the spots, because that kind of defeats the purpose of even combining these two. So anyway, because of the rather long cooldown, the lack of number of zones that you can actually target, and the health associated with each zone, it really is not a good skill for anyone just using general weapons. This skill benefits pretty much entirely from sniper rifles. And I say this because sniper rifles deal a high amount of damage. So for example, if you have a zone that has 500,000 health and you are shooting it with a, like a skill build, you're probably going to exhaust this zone in like 4 to 5 bullets, if not even less. So I mean, you're probably going to be hitting at least 100k as a skill build with, the headshot damage on a zone. So you're going to hit, 5 shots, it's going to be gone. So you're going to get a little bit of buff damage, and then it's going to be on cooldown, and then you're going to have to reapply it in like however many seconds. If you're a DPS user, you're probably doing 500k a bullet anyway, with, most weapons deal a high amount of damage. So in 1 to 2 bullets, it's going to be gone. Meaning, you're going to have to wait like 30 seconds before you can reapply it, and the entire skill probably gave you an extra 400, 300,000 damage. I mean, not a huge impressive amount, just because you blew through it and you went over the cap and it's gone. When you're a sniper though, if you hit a headshot on an enemy, you're going to be dealing, possibly 20 million. I mean, I've seen it. There's even higher if you really want to go into insane numbers. I think you can get up to like 60 million or something insane like that, if not even higher. So the aspect of actually applying this skill to an enemy and then hitting them, giving you this massive amount of damage can be highly beneficial because you can go over the zone health cap by millions. Whereas if you're just a regular DPS user, you probably go over the cap by a few thousand or maybe hundreds of thousands, not too much. So alright, so we know that Spotter does work on a very limited basis. The other thing I did test out was just to see if it actually glitched out a little bit with the Gilligard mask. If you're not familiar with that, I'm talking about, I think it's the Night Watch or something like that. It has 100% Spotter Pulse haste or something like that. Well, no, it doesn't work. So there is no mask that is going to decrease the cooldown to make this skill more effective for other builds. The other thing that I did test out, or actually I didn't even test it out, it just kind of happened by chance, was the zone health is influenced by skill health. So if you have skill health, or I think even skill efficiency, any of those types of rolls on your gear, so the holster, the gloves, Motherly Love gloves, the Empress International brand set, those are going to give your zone health increased damage capacity. However, it's not really that good. I think with my maxed out health build, I ended up getting zone health to about 900k, basically under a million health on a zone, which isn't bad. I mean, if you've got a fully maxed out skill build and you've got 3 zones, I mean that's roughly about a million health on each zone, and that's about 3 million health total that you can deal damage to before the zones disappear. While that's not bad, it does kind of highlight some of the problems with the skill itself. So for example, I used it a few times just to test it out on various different builds. Builds with no skill whatsoever, and builds with 6 tier. The problem is, as a sniper, you're going to be aiming for the head anyway. So why would you use a skill that has the potential to all of a sudden target their foot? That's going to take away DPS because you're going to be spending less time shooting and more time trying to track a foot. That's silly. The other thing for this skill is you probably want to use it on the larger, tougher enemies. But in the case of the heavies, they have a weak spot on their back. So if they're walking at you shooting and you're trying to snipe them, and you get one of these pulse spots on their back, how are you supposed to hit that? You can't do anything about it. So you just have a skill that just got wasted and there's nothing you can do. Now if you're a skill build and you're using this skill, and you get 3 of these different spots, and I've gotten 2 on the feet and 1 on the chest, so I'm going to try to spray my weapon at their feet? I mean, why? That doesn't make any sense. That's terrible. Overall, I don't like this skill. I don't like it at all. Even, with some of the buffs that I've tried using it with, even some of the abilities, it's very lackluster. It's very unimpressive. It doesn't really have much role in combat. I mean, if you are using it on one of the bigger enemies, it can deal enhanced damage for you. But again, if you are a full sniper build, you're probably one-shotting everything in the game. But if you're a DPS build, there's probably better options for you. Stuff that can allow you to sustain the damage by, staying fully healed. Or using a shield that can allow you to just keep firing at an enemy. Or even having distraction type skills like the decoy or the turret just to kind of pull enemies off of you. This skill doesn't offer enough damage to really benefit those classes. So again, if you're a sniper and you're already aiming for headshots, how is this going to help you? I mean, you're not going to use it on a red bar or purple bar that you're already one-tapping. And honestly, most yellow bars are dropped in one shot for a fully, buffed up sniper build. So the most likely targets would be bosses, warhounds, and heavies. But of course, heavies have armor plating on them. And if you have to break the armor plating first, it doesn't matter how much damage you do, you have to break it first before you can actually drop that enemy. So generally, if you're a one-shot sniper for pretty much most enemies, you're probably only going to need 2 shots to destroy a heavy's armor. This might give you the ability to one-tap that armor, but you're still going to need another shot to kill them anyway. So you're going from 3 shots to potentially 2 shots. But it's not going to be something that you need for every encounter, and it's probably going to be something that you don't even equip anymore because you get sick of, constantly changing it out. And this is the same for warhounds. Obviously, warhounds have the plates. you're going to have to destroy the plate first before you can actually deal the damage to their health. So while I can't say definitively that there's going to be no real use for this skill, I can say that most players are not going to have any use for it. But either way, if you got any questions, I'll try to answer them. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.